the gentlemen of the college.
Turn out the lights, say goodbye to another night. I'm gonna rest my weary head, put my bones away to bed. I'm gonna get on my knees and pray to the Lord to give me just one more day. Oh Lord, hear my plea, this music means so much to me. This music got so, brother, acapella sounds good to me. This music got acapella sounds good to me. Got the intro song done. I say it's time we have some fun. Hello guests, hello friends, we are the good old gentlemen.
Hi everyone. I'm sorry I can't join you tonight in beautiful Williamsburg, but I did want to congratulate the class of 2014, and an outstanding class it is. The ITA Women's Collegiate Tennis Hall of Fame was created to celebrate the milestones in women's collegiate tennis, from the early struggles of recognition to the achievement of full-fledged intercollegiate competition. My very good friends Mark McCormick and Betsy Nagelson opened this Hall of Fame in 1995. I had the honor of being inducted that year as a member of the inaugural class. Every other year, the Hall of Fame enshrines exceptional players, coaches, and contributors in women's intercollegiate tennis. Tonight, we're going to honor the 6 individuals that make up the class of 2014. Enjoy this evening, and let's get the ceremony started. Go for it.
First on the agenda is an opportunity to recognize and welcome back 11 former inductees who have graced us with their attendance this evening. All of them are champions on and off the court. Collectively, this is our largest group of returning inductees, and they've come back to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Hall of Fame and the class of 2016. I'd like the returning inductees to please stand as I introduce you, and audience, would you please hold your applause for one huge ovation at the completion of these introductions. First, we have Betsy Nagelson McCormick, 1995 charter member, presenter of tonight's awards, honorary alumna of the college, and donor of the Mark McCormick of the Indoor Tennis Center, which is home for our Hall of Fame. No, please hold. There goes all my plans. We're going to have everybody stand, and then you're going to have this thunderous ovation. Next, Donna Floyd Fales, multiple national, international champion, graduate of the College of William & Mary, who is still playing competitive tennis. Millie West, 1998 founder and curator of the Hall of Fame. Peachy Kellmeyer, 1999 inductee, an early force behind establishing collegiate scholarships for women, later demanding equal pay for men and women professionals. Kathy Jordan, 2004, Stanford graduate who played on their 1978 championship team, and in 1979 was both the national singles and, playing with her sister Barbara, the national doubles champion. After Stanford, she won 7 Grand Slam titles, was ranked number 5 in the world. Frank Brennan, 2006 Stanford coach of 10 Division I national championship teams. Alice Tim, 2008 international player and coach of 2 national championship teams at the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. Dave Borelli, 2010, University of Southern California coach of 7 Division I national championship teams. Barbara Hallquist de Groot, 2010, first female to receive a full scholarship to USC and proved her medal by winning back-to-back collegiate championships. Ed Hegman, 2010, coach of 3 national championship teams at the University of Mary Washington. Carol Herrick, 2012, collegiate champion, professional player, and since retiring from competitive tennis, has authored 6 books on the history of Washington, D.C., and another book on the War of 1812. Let's have a resounding hand of applause for these previous inductees.
Tennis in college it provides you with 3 things. One, the opportunity to continue to hone in on your game, to get a lot of help financially because you're getting everything for free. You're given everything. Secondly, it provides you with the development of your emotional stability and maturation in tennis, which probably is one sport that requires more of it because it is an individual sport. And thirdly, it provides you with the aspect of being in a team environment because it is an individual sport. And the fact to be able to work with others provides you with that ability or that aspect of experience that provides you with something later on when maybe you move on to some other field. When you become a parent, dealing with a family situation or working an employee in a company or something, that factor comes into play. And I just can't imagine anyone would turn down an opportunity to go to college when you have all those aspects that are thrown in your face to go and try it and chance it and go out and play and maybe probably 85%, 90% of the time fail in terms of getting to that top level.
It was the best 4 years of my life. I mean, I toyed with the idea. I was one of the top juniors in the country, and I thought, you know, do I want to take a year off, try the Pro Tour? Some girls were doing that, and fortunately, I didn't, and I went to USC, and I can't tell you just how much I benefited from my experience there, not only, you know, primarily from an academic standpoint, but my game matured so much under the tutelage of Dave Borelli. I matured a lot emotionally. I had amazing teammates. We had an incredible time. I not only learned from Dave, I learned from my teammates. I learned from, you know, all the girls that I played against in college tennis. And, you know, following that time, I was then ready to go on the tour. I felt like this was the right time to get out there, and I was able to travel with the girls that I played college tennis with and against. it was just a really enriching experience.
Well, I think college tennis offers women a stage on which they can develop their character. It teaches you competition and compassion and what hard work means and what you derive from hard work. When I was young, I used to love Rudyard Kipling's poem, If, and long before I ever saw it, at Wimbledon, they have it over the gate there, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same. I think that it gives you that opportunity. I mean, I suppose all sports do, but tennis, because of the nature of tennis, I mean, it's very mental, it's very physical, it's international. You deal with people of different cultures and how they, some people are good when they're winning, some people are tougher when they're losing. You learn a great deal about the world, and certainly character is destiny. And this is what tennis offers you, is that opportunity to find out who you are and what you're made of and what lies in the future for you.
Well, I think there are many benefits. Number one, tennis is an individual sport, and by playing college tennis, you're part of a team. You have a nurturing support group, gives you an opportunity to be part of a group. And I think it's a fairly important thing, because once you get out and play individually, as you do when you're after college, then you're really on your own. You're competing against everybody else. So I think it's a huge period. It gives you time to mentally mature, physically mature through those 18 to 21 years.
Well, I think college is a place where you can take the gifts that you've been given as a youth and express them to the world in a sort of with a newfound independence. The girls, the beautiful thing about college tennis is they can express their gifts as an individual and as a team player, which is really important. And I think they learn a lot from that. And you're only as powerful in a group as you are as an individual. So I can't think of a better platform than women's college tennis for these young women to be able to grow from the inside.
I think it's a fantastic opportunity. I mean, I think it gives the players, whether they're women or for everyone, the chance to develop their craft, work on their game, improve, gain confidence, succeed, compete, all while still getting an education. I think I was really lucky to have that opportunity. I mean, I think I was able to develop my game, to compete at the highest levels, and to realize that I could succeed in all those arenas, whether it was in tennis or in academics or the wider world beyond. I made lifelong friendships through college tennis, and I gained a lot of confidence, as I said, in competing, and really made a huge leap in my game as well.
What I got out of it basically was to be able to share the experiences of my players and the success that they had, and also to be able to share with them growing from coming in as freshmen and then working their way through the 4 years of school and then watching them graduate. And then also now the benefits keep going, because now they still call me and come visit me, and now, like I said, and they're out of school maybe 15, 20 years, and they still call me coach, and they seem to really appreciate everything that I tried to help them with. Even though I was tough, I was very tough on them. And they remind me of that, like how I made them play in cold weather and all that kind of stuff. But they came through the experience, I think, very well, and were able to build those values and to create those habits that have made them successful post-school. And that was my goal, really, even though I wanted to share in the excitement of being national champions and those kinds of things. I wanted to extend further, and I think it worked, I think.
When I went to college, we wore white. We used wooden rackets, and the balls were white. So there was no Title IX. It was a whole different bag of marbles. I went to California State College at Los Angeles, and we had, at that time, a very powerful, strong women's tennis team. And I want to say it's probably the strongest team that has ever been produced. Nobody ever heard of us. The team was, besides myself, we had Carol Caldwell Grabner, Billie Jean Maffitt-King, Connie Jaster, and Susan Belmar. At one time, all 5 of us were ranked in the top 20 in the nation. We didn't have anybody to play. When we played another school, it was like tea and cookies. So the benefit was we all got to know one another, had the camaraderie. When we played for the school, we got to know the people on a little different social level than we would if it was really competitive. But we got to play with the boys' team and practice with them, and that was the benefit that all of us really got from school.
Well, the main thing is that you get an education as you're doing something you love. But the thing that's different is that if you're a tennis player, growing up as a tennis player, you aren't really a team. Now, there are more high school teams now, but they don't travel like you do with college tennis. So you get benefit of bonding together, you get the team aspect of it, and that's what I think is important. You don't just pull for yourself. You play, it's an individual sport, but as a college player, it becomes a team sport. And you always support your teammates, and you don't just walk off and come in and play your match and leave. So it's a real bonding, and you get respect from all the other players. And so I think there's a valuable lesson, and it's important, and one you don't get any other place.
I'm a firm believer in college tennis. Obviously, that's what I did for a living. But I see the girls that come and play college tennis develop so much more. They get a sense of teamwork, goal setting. I mean, there's all those things that you would think that they would get out of that type of experience. And I mean, I've had business recruiters come to me and say, I want to talk to your seniors. I want to find the girls who are seniors who are not going to go on and play pro tennis because they're the kids I want to recruit for Goldman Sachs, P&G, whoever, Hewlett-Packard. And it's like, wow, tell me why. Well, your girls, they know how to win, they know how to lose, and they got the sense of teamwork, and it's just terrific. So those are the kids we're looking for.
I really think that young women going to college, it gives you a lot of opportunities. And quite frankly, for women who go and also play college tennis, I think the best teacher I ever had was tennis. It gives you self-confidence, self-esteem. You learn about winning and losing in life, and that you're not always going to win, you're going to lose. And when you do lose, you got to get up the next day and start all over again. So I think college is very important, and that's why I think this Hall of Fame is so very critical.
Our evening would not be complete without a word of welcome from the Executive Director of the Intercollegiate Tennis Association. At this time, I'd like to welcome David Benjamin to the podium.
Thank you, and on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Intercollegiate Tennis Association, we'd like to congratulate the class of 2014 inductees and also congratulate all of the inductees who have returned tonight. We'd like to thank the College of William and Mary, the President's Office, the Athletic Department, the coaching staff, and all of the community that supports the tennis program at William & Mary for its great support and for making all of this possible. And particularly we'd like to thank Betsy Nagelson and Mark McCormick for their generous support with the Hall of Fame building and the Tennis Center. There's a quick little story I'll tell. I don't think I've ever told the story before. When we were at the early stages of talking about the Women's College Hall of Fame, and again, Millie and I had talked on the phone a number of times, and we were just trying to figure out how this might work, and it was fairly early in the process. It was probably 1986 or so. And we agreed that at the end of the summer, we had each summer an outing where we honored the All-Star, the IT All-Star team and the Arthur Ashe Leadership and Sportsmanship winners at Forest Hills at the Westside Tennis Club. So we discussed that it would be a good opportunity for Millie and I to talk, and also to talk to some of the other coaches and key people that would be involved in this planning. I don't know if Millie remembers this, But we were having dinner, we were staying at the Crown Plaza, which is right near LaGuardia Airport and not too far from Westside Tennis Club. So we'd arranged that Millie would join us for dinner, and then we would meet after the dinner. And this was before cell phones and everything. So the dinner was at 6:30 or 7, and Millie wasn't there. And I knew her flight was due in at LaGuardia at about 5 or so. And another hour went by, and I was getting a little worried. But again, there was no way to reach out through cell phones. And about probably 8:30 or 9, Millie arrived. And I was very, very relieved and asked Millie, I guess the flight had been delayed, and apparently the flight wasn't delayed. It arrived at 5:30, and Millie got into a taxi cab at LaGuardia Airport and asked the taxi cab driver to take her to the Crown Plaza, which the driver proceeded to do through New York City, I think into Brooklyn possibly, at which point Millie said, I thought it was only a 5 or 10 minute drive. So they had to turn around, and eventually Millie made it, and then we spent a couple hours, and again, as everyone knows, Millie's more than persistent, so a taxi cab driver driving her through New York City wasn't going to deter from our discussing this, and that still was in the early stages, but as you all know, the Women's College Hall of Fame is very much the creation of Millie with the help of Betsy and Mark, and on behalf of the ITA, we'd like to thank her again. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And now let us turn our attention to the main purpose of this evening, inducting another highly qualified group of inductees, the class of 2014. The person most qualified to present these inductees is a special friend and honorary alumna of this college, Betsy Nagelson McCormick. Betsy's no stranger to the college or to this ceremony. She's acted in this role every year since 1995, with the exception of 1 year when her daughter Maggie was born. We've provided much more information about Betsy on page 13 of your program. She still lives with her philosophy on life and the game. As she says, I have a passion for the sport and a real heart to help young people improve their game as well as their attitude toward competing and winning. Ladies and gentlemen, Betsy Nagelson McCormick.
Put my fancy glasses on for you, Frank. Well, once again, it's always a great honor and a pleasure for me to be here and serve in this capacity. It's with great joy that I get to come back every 2 years now and be able to induct the current class. This year is no exception as to being one of the best ones. The growth of the museum is so impressive, and so is the accomplishments of this year's inductees. You know, I get so much credit for all that goes on here, and I think most of you really know that Mark really deserves the credit. I guess what I could get a little credit for is the fact that he loved women's tennis more once he married me, so that helped somewhat, but he was extremely passionate about William and Mary, about this school, about the tennis center, about the Hall of Fame, and about Millie West. He loved Millie, and we all know that none of this would be what it is today without Millie and all that she has done. And so we thank you, Millie, very much for that. I do wish Mark could be here and just see the amazing growth and progress that has occurred. He would be so incredibly pleased, and it's my great pleasure that I get to do this on behalf of William and Mary and Millie and Mark to do these inductions. So This year's, like every year, but this year is especially fun for me because I do know all 4 of the female inductees. I've had the great pleasure and honor of playing with them or against them, and you know, it's great to see Lindsay, I've seen in so many years, and Stacy and Cece, all of whom I just haven't seen in so many years, and Katrina, of course, I do get to see a little bit more often, and it's been great to meet Bob and Jeff, who I've not met but have heard so much about. So I just congratulate you on this great evening, and for you guys, it's amazing. Also, just getting to spend some time with the former inductees has been great fun for me. It's so wonderful to see Frank and Terry, and who I've known for so many very years, and I don't get to see except maybe every 2 years here, and Peachy and Donna and Carol and Barbara, Dave, Ed, Alice, and Kathy flew in late last night from California, so glad you guys have made this trip, and it's really wonderful that you're here. The Hall of Fame serves as a historical record of the legends who laid the groundwork for women's intercollegiate tennis as we know it today. The very best have been enshrined, and thanks to them, the collection of valuable and unique items are on display in the museum. On this, our 20th anniversary, let me take a minute to highlight a few of these legends. Hazel Whiteman, who played competitively for 60 years, originated international play for women amateurs by establishing the Whiteman Cup in 1923. The men already had the Davis Cup. Althea Gibson broke the color barrier as the first black woman to play in a USTA-sanctioned tournament. Helen Lewis and Ann Pittman were responsible for initiating national intercollegiate championships for women. Billie Jean King and Gladys Hellman established professional tennis for women by paying amateurs $1. Dodo Cheney never stopped competing after her graduation from Rollins College. At 98 years old, she has won more than 390 championships and still competes today with a helmet. The beauty of the Hall of Fame is that it allows us to not only reconnect with the accomplishments of these initial trailblazers, but to also biannually recognize the continuing impact of outstanding players, coaches, and contributors. It's now time to turn our attention to welcoming the newest group of inductees. Each inductee's profile is featured in the program beginning on page 4. Even with our best efforts, it is impossible to adequately cover all of the accomplishments of the current inductees. This class adds another significant layer of modern history to the Hall of Fame. Now, without further ado, let's meet the class of 2014. Our first inductee of the evening, Katrina Adams, was a Big Ten and NCAA champion and continues to make her mark as a tennis leader and humanitarian. Katrina is on schedule to become president of the USTA, only the 4th woman and first black woman in the 133-year history of the organization. Please turn your attention to the video screen for an introduction of Katrina Adams.
Katrina Adams' tennis experience has spanned from player to coach to television analyst and commentator. She was born in Chicago, Illinois, and began playing tennis in the Parks and Recreation program sponsored by the Martin Luther King Jr. Boys Club when she was only 6. Before long, young Katrina was winning her matches and collecting trophies. As a student at Whitney Young High School, Katrina became the Illinois High School Association singles champion in 1983 and 1984. Katrina won an athletic scholarship to Northwestern University, where she became the 1986 Rookie of the Year, helping the Wildcats to Big Ten championships in 1986. She was voted All-Big Ten Team and NCAA All-American in 1986 and 1987. In 1987, playing with Diane Donnelly, Katrina became the first African American to win the NCAA Doubles Championship. From 1988 to 1996, Katrina played professionally and won 20 WTA doubles titles, 7 of them with partner Zina Garrison. Katrina's best Grand Slam singles result was when she lost to Chris Everett in the 4th round of the 1988 Wimbledon Championships, 5-7, 6-3, 6-love. While a professional player, she served on the WTA Board of Directors as a player representative for 4 years and on the WTA's Players Association for 10 years. Katrina was honored with a WTA Player Service Award in 1996 and 1997. When Katrina left the pro circuit, she easily segued into coaching and broadcasting. As a national coach for USTA Player Development, Katrina coached and mentored junior and professional players from 1999 to 2002. In 2003, she became an on-air analyst for the Tennis Channel. She was inducted into the Northwestern University Hall of Fame in 1998 and continues to support the Wildcats teams with her longtime college friends. She has also been honored with other awards, including the 2003 WTA Althea Gibson Achievement Award. Throughout her tennis career, Katrina has been actively involved with the USTA, serving on the Player Development Committee, the Executive Committee, the Grievance Committee, and the Budget Committee. She's also served on the Board of Directors as Director at Large and Vice President. She is currently the first vice president serving a 2-year term that began January 2013. Katrina has also been instrumental in transforming young lives as the executive director of the Harlem Junior Tennis and Education Program in New York City. Considered the gold standard of youth tennis programs, the program partners with schools in Harlem and serves over 1,000 children, and more than 90% graduate high school and go on to college. Katrina's efforts to provide positive role models have garnered the support of tennis notables such as Billie Jean King. Her lifelong commitment to tennis as a player, coach, writer, commentator, USTA officer, and concerned citizen is a shining legacy, and it appears she has President Barack Obama's smile of approval.
Come on up, Katrina.
Wow. Good evening, everyone. I am honored and humbled to be here accepting this award. Betsy, thank you for introducing me. Brian, amazing with the video. Millie, you rock. You know, when I got a letter, I don't know how many months ago, almost a year ago, perhaps, and then I got a phone call from Millie West and letting me know that I had been selected to be inducted into the ITA Collegiate Hall of Fame. And she called and had I'd never met Millie before, but she called with so much love and passion and warmth and excitement that I actually got excited about it. I don't get excited about a lot. My parents and friends can definitely tell you that. But I am so excited to be a part of this group, a part of this class, with the other honorees and inductees this evening and all the past inductees. When you listen to your bio, you don't realize all the things that you've done, because I didn't get into the sport to do all the things that I've done. I got into it because I enjoyed it and because I loved it. I was very fortunate and very, very honored to have the parents that I have who are here with me this evening, who have been there from day one, supporting me and loving me and making the sacrifices. You know, I grew up on the west side of Chicago and from humble beginnings, and tennis was not our sport. It was something that I stumbled upon, as you heard in the video, and it was the people that surrounded me, that believed in me, gave me the opportunities. Through that journey, many of those people are actually here this evening. Rod Schroeder was one of my junior coaches who really honed me and really taught me how to play the game. I had a good base from other coaches, and Rod really took me to the next level. Helen Edwards was one of those coaches back in the day that worked with me and played with me to compete. She made the journey here from Georgia. Rod came from Chicago. My uncle and aunt are here from North Carolina. As you look through the juniors and go into college, My road dogs that you saw up here, the 3 musketeers of the 4 are here, who have really gone all over the world with me and have supported me. And without that kind of love and support, you don't know what you can do and where you can go in a strange world. And that strange world was the world of tennis for me. As I move through and go through onto the pro circuit, Willis Thomas, my coach, is here. Came down from D.C., and he really took me under his wing along with Zena Garrison and taught me the road of competitive tennis on the WTA Tour. And I was fortunate to play people like Betsy, and I think Kathy was on her way out, and several other players. So when you look around the room and I look at the people that are here, Peachy Kellmeyer was there from day one on the WTA Tour. And because of her vision and her passion to women's tennis and women's sports in Title IX, I had the opportunity to get a college scholarship at an institution like Northwestern. Because I bleed purple and white, we beat Notre Dame tonight in overtime. I had to get that one in South Bend, I must say. But I'm really honored. I look around the room again and I see all the collegiate coaches that I played against. I beat most of their players, so I'm happy to say that. Dave, Sheila, Jeff, other honoree, there you go. Frank, yes, yes. But it's just, I'm so overfilled with joy to be in the presence of all the people in this room who love the sport of tennis, who have the passion to give back. And I've got 2 of my closest friends that have made this journey with me beyond my professional career, traveling all over the world as I've transcended into my USTA duties, and they've traveled here from New York, so thank you for coming. Roberta and Charlotte. You know, my cousins here, I've got so many people here, it's ridiculous. And again, when people started to say, oh no, I'm gonna be there, I sent out invitations just to let them know, not to actually invite them. And then they all said, no, I'm coming. So thank you for being here, for supporting me. Congratulations to everyone. This sport is a wonderful sport. It's about giving back for me through Harlem, through my duties at the USTA, and hopefully I can carry this sport on into the next successful years. Thank you.
Our next inductee, Lindsay Morse Bennett, was the 1977 AIAW National Collegiate Singles Champion, an All-American, and went on to be ranked in the top 40 professionally. Let's view the video.
Lindsay Morse Bennett made history at the University of California, Irvine in 1977 when she became the first woman to be named Student Athlete of the Year. But her journey to that honor began years earlier. Born and raised in Pasadena, California, she began playing tennis at age 8, and by 11, she was playing in tournaments. In 1969, Lindsay won the National Public Parks Championship in Los Angeles. She competed in the Southern California Intersectional Girls Squad during the summers of 1971 and 1972. While attending Westridge High School, Lindsay was ranked number 8 nationally for girls 18 and under in singles in 1973 before she enrolled in the University of California, Irvine. 1974 was an exciting year for Lindsay. She won the Southern California Intercollegiate title in singles and doubles while helping UCI claim the team title. She played on the Junior Whiteman Cup team where she was named Player of the Year. Lindsay won the National Amateur Clay Court Doubles Championships and was runner-up in singles. Lindsay had another banner year in 1977. She won the singles title at the Western Association for Intercollegiate Athletics for Women Regional Tournament and the national singles title at the AIAW tournament at Louisiana State University. Although Lindsay didn't win every match, she played an aggressive, hard-hitting game. With her record of 96 singles wins and 64 doubles wins, Lindsay was honored with Student Athlete of the Year in 1977. She was the first female in UC Irvine's history to receive that award. She was also named All-American in both 1977 and 1978. After graduating from UC Irvine in 1978, Lindsay coached girls tennis at University High School in Irvine for a year before joining the Pro Tour. In 1980, she lost to Chris Everett in round 3 at Wimbledon, but attained a world ranking of 39th in singles. In 1981, Lindsay made it to round 3 of the U.S. Open before losing to Martina Navratilova, and to the third round of the Australian Open before being defeated by Greer Stevens. When she married Jim Bennett in 1981 and moved to Pasadena, California, Lindsay gave up the professional tour. Once an athlete, always an athlete, so she took up running and completed her first marathon in 1982. And in 1983, Lindsay was inducted into the UC Irvine Athletic Hall of Fame. Lindsay was ranked #1 in women's 45 and under in singles and doubles in the Pacific Northwest in 2000 and began teaching at Mountain Park Racket Club. From 2002 through 2004, Lindsay was the assistant coach for girls tennis at Lake Ridge High School. The team won the state title both years, especially sweet victories for Lindsay since both Bryn and Melissa played on the team. Lindsay is a representative on the Adidas advisory staff and still teaches both adults and juniors at Mountain Park. Her smile seems to say it all. Life is good in Lake Oswego.
Come on up, Lindsay.
Good evening, everyone. I think it's safe to say that for myself and all the inductees, this has been a weekend that's surpassed all my wildest dreams. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but Williamsburg is beautiful, the school's beautiful. Everybody here has been so hospitable, and it's been a weekend I'll remember forever. My congratulations to all the other inductees. When Millie called me and invited me, I was really honored, but when the list came of all the other inductees, the first thing I did was Google everybody, which was a huge mistake. Following Katrina, I mean, it's amazing what everybody's done. There was sportscasters, people who've written books. Jeff, the coaches have won about 100 titles between their two teams. And I remember calling a friend saying, oh my gosh, you should see what I'm going to be up against. And she said, well, maybe you can write a book in the next 3 months and get it published. And that obviously didn't happen, but I'm really honored to be in this group, and it's really an honor. Millie, you've been amazing. Your energy, your enthusiasm, your humor are contagious, and it's been a treat to meet you. Betsy, you're going to get tired of being thanked, I'm sure, but what you and Millie have envisioned with Mark, it's incredible. The tennis center is beautiful. We wouldn't be here tonight without the Hall of Fame, so thank you for everything. Sort of nervous, sorry. Tennis has given me so much. Friendships, it's been so nice to reconnect with Betsy here. I haven't seen for probably, 35 years. We played a number of times in junior tournaments. I was always on the losing end of the matches, but Betsy, as you all know, is probably one of the nicest people in the world, and she was always so gracious, and it was always fun to play. So it was never too bad walking off the court having lost to her. She's an amazing person, and it's been fun to see her. Tennis has given me an education, lots of travel, reconnecting with many friends, meeting so many new people who I've heard about over the years. So it's been so much fun being here. I have some coaches that I am really thankful for. Myron McNamara, who's no longer around. Dave Reed, who was at a club in Pasadena where I played. And Doreen Irish, who was my college coach, was not able to come. She broke her foot a week or a month or so ago and wasn't able to make it. But I thank her for putting up with 18 and 19-year-olds when we started school, and we were full of ourselves, and she was very gracious and a very nice coach. My mom and dad, my mom was probably my greatest fan, and at the age of probably 11 and 12 started driving me around California to tournaments to play in, and I can't think of the hundreds of matches that she probably sat through that were very, very boring and very, very bad to watch, but she was always my biggest supporter, and she would have gotten such a kick out of this tonight because she knew so many of the people, Betsy, Barbara Hallquist, Stacy, that she watched grow up, and she would have enjoyed being here with us. My dad could not be here. He has some health issues, but he's also my biggest fan and very proud of me. I'd like to thank my family, Jim, my 3 children, Bryn, Melissa, and Charlie, who came, my sister Carol, who's quite a tennis player from Phoenix, and her husband Chuck, my college roommate Sue and teammate from UCI came from Florida, and my nephew Luke, who just got out of the Coast Guard in New York, came down, and I appreciate that. And Haley Peterson, a good friend of the family, who is like another daughter to me. So I won't go on, but thank you all for this. It's been a great week, and I'll remember it forever. Thank you.
Our next inductee, Cece Martinez, was the 1968 Intercollegiate Singles Champion, a quarterfinalist at Wimbledon, and achieved professional rankings as high as number 15 in singles and number 4 in doubles.
With the debut of the Virginia Slims Invitational Tour, Cecilia Martinez helped make women's professional tennis history. But her story began a few years earlier. Cece, one of 6 Martinez children, was born in San Francisco. She began playing tennis at the age of 9, attended a foundation clinic taught by the great Maureen Little Mo Connolly in 1958, and began winning. Cece's powerful form led her to win several tournaments while a student at San Francisco's Presentation High School, and she was awarded the Sportsman Trophy with fellow top junior Herb Southard. At the tender age of 17, Cece played Billie Jean Moffitt King, the top-seeded number 2 U.S. woman player in the world, in a dramatic battle for the California State Tennis Championships at Alpine Hills. Cece would end up losing the match 16-14, 6-2, after losing 3 set points in the opening set. Cece went on to San Francisco State University, where she was ranked the number 1 women's tennis player in Northern California, and, as a member of the Northern California team, took the U.S. LTA Girls Intersectional at Philadelphia's Germantown Cricket Club. While at San Francisco State, Cece became the 1965 ladies doubles champion with her partner Rosemary Casals. She captured the singles crown when she became the USTA Women's National Collegiate Champion in 1966 by defeating top-seeded Jane Danilovich from the University of California 6-4, 4-6, 7-5. In 1970, women's tennis faced a crisis when the disparity between men's and women's prize money reached a ridiculous ratio of 8-1. At Forest Hills, Cece and her doubles partner, Esme Emanuel, devised a questionnaire to poll the public's opinions on women's tennis, and the results were literally game-changing. The original 9, Billie Jean King, Rosie Casals, and others, launched the first all-women's professional tennis event, the Virginia Slims Invitational Tour, that ultimately became the WTA. Also in 1970, Cece visited her father's homeland in the Philippines and became the darling of the tennis fans when she won the Metropolitan Open. While playing more than 20 years in the WTA, Cece won tournaments in 10 countries and played in singles, doubles, and mixed doubles at Wimbledon and Forest Hills between 1965 and 1976. She ranked as high as number 1 in singles and doubles in Northern California, nationally 9th in juniors, 11th in women's singles, and number 4 in women's doubles. Cece has served as the tennis director at Canocti Harbor Inn, as well as numerous other tennis clubs throughout California. She has been the sole proprietor of Tennis Pro Shops, taught tennis, and coached NCTA Girls 14s to a team championship. In 1983, Cece was inducted into the San Francisco State University Hall of Fame, and in 1984 was USPTA certified as a Professional 1. Cece's accomplishments extend well beyond the tennis courts. She's co-authored Tennis Psychology with Harold Geist, worked in real estate, freelanced as a travel writer and a photographer. Since 2007, she has participated in the Walk to Defeat ALS, otherwise known as Lou Gehrig's disease. Currently, Cece trains and shows her miniature poodles that, to no one's surprise, have won in agility, obedience, and lure coursing competitions.
Come on, Cece.
Well, Katrina and Lindsay are a hard act to follow, but I'll do my best. First of all, I want to thank my family who's here, my sister Linda Reynolds and my cousin Judy Olson. They came all the way from California and Oregon to give me some support. So I want to recognize them. And I want to thank the hospitality. It's been incredible, incredible hospitality from Millie, Jesse, Tyler, Megan, Raquel, and Betsy. Betsy's always been so awesome. And also want to thank the committee for selecting me. It is an honor because I've been sort of out of tennis for a long time, and I've kind of gone on to a lot of new things, and this has kind of come out of the blue. So thank you very much. I'm still alive, so thank you very much for the honor. Yes, it is a great honor to be selected here with such an incredible group of tennis players and coaches. I feel very special, and thank you very much. I also want to congratulate the other inductees, Lindsay, Stacy, Katrina, Jeff, and Bob. And I was a public parks kid. I grew up in San Francisco as the youngest of 6 kids. And we were kind of average. We weren't poor, but we weren't wealthy. My mom couldn't afford tennis lessons, so I got a lot of help along the way. I should thank people that are not able to be here. My mom bought a house in San Francisco, 2 houses from the tennis courts. And that's how I learned how to play. My brother played, and I wanted to play baseball, but I was too little, so they let me play with a tennis racket. And that's sort of how I learned to play tennis. With a tennis racket, but they'd pitch the ball to me, and then I'd see them playing, so I wanted to play too. And there was an old lady, she was really old at that time, and her name was Mrs. Henrietta Hoskinson, and she used to give me free lessons. She had a basket of balls, and she'd just she'd see me hanging around and causing trouble or whatever. I was kind of a restless kid. I was athletic, and I wanted to do things, and so she kept me out of trouble. She'd throw the balls at me, and I'd hit the balls, and she gave me free lessons, and she used to do that. In fact, she taught my sister too. In fact, my sister Linda she won a tournament, the Public Parks tournament, and that was the first tournament I won at the Public Parks. So I'm really a Public Parks kid. And Mrs. Hoskins and my mom, of course, was my biggest fan. I mean, everybody can. She drove me around, and it was tough on her because she had 5 other kids. But she managed to find some time from her life and with the other kids. I'm sure my brothers and sisters didn't like that because she spent so much time with me, but thank you, Mom. And also there's Mr. Jim Moffitt. I mean, he's a name from the past. He was a very important person in my life. He kind of promoted me a lot. He noticed me when I was 10 years old, and he got me a special membership of the California Tennis Club. And that was sort of different from the public parks, a whole different environment, but I really learned a lot there. And but one inspiration too, I want to promote more public parks, was Maureen Connolly, and that was mentioned in the video. I think Mrs. Hoskinson took me there it was a free clinic that she was giving, and she was like probably one of the most awesome players ever. And she gave a free clinic, and I was just like, oh my goodness, she's great. And and I won the serving contest, and that got me hooked. That was it. It was all over after that. I really got inspired. So I kept playing. I played a lot of junior terms. I don't remember my rankings, but I was always, one of the top players there. And I always got free lessons, and that was great. If I didn't have free lessons, I don't know what could have happened. And I always was sponsored for this or for that, so that really helped a lot. There was a coach too when I won the NCAAs, the Intercollegiates, Andre Paisley. He would get me up at 8 o'clock in the morning every Saturday morning and drag me out of bed, and we go hit balls in the courts right next to my house. So I'm really thankful for him. And he's gone now too, but I have to, these people, they say it takes a village, and it really does. And I'm sure all the other tennis players here would agree with me. Dick Stevens was another one of my coaches. He taught me a slice serve, and that really came in handy. Barry McKay taught me an approach shot. And Harold Geist, who I co-authored Tennis Psychology with, he was one of my psychology professors, and I took one of the classes I took kind of inspired me to do this tennis survey. So I have to thank him too. Let me see. I want to give a little background about when I won the intercollegiates. This was in 1966, and I went to San Francisco State, and I didn't get a tennis scholarship. I mean, I don't think very many people did, and I played 3 tournaments that year, and I won 2 out of the 3, and I almost wasn't allowed to play the intercollegiates because they didn't have any money for me to play. And this was in Stanford that year, and I'm in San Francisco. We're only like, half an hour away, and they said, no, you can't play. We can't send you. And my mom offered to pay for my way or drive me there. And they said, no, you can't play. But finally, at the last minute, they found some funds, so I was able to play, thank goodness. Also, I want to thank, other people that are really important, Billie Jean King, Gladys Heldman. I mean, if they weren't here, if they didn't do what they did, Virginia Slims wouldn't have started the tour. And I also want to say that I was not part of the original 9, but I was number 10. I was the 10th player to sign on the tour, and this was in nearby in Richmond, the Westwood Tennis Club, and I took Peaches Bartkowitz's place. So I was part of from the very beginning. Well, my survey was a little bit before that. And when I played in Richmond, this is, I think, I can't remember now, but 1970, I think, or 70. Yeah, it was 1970. I toured Richmond, and I remember going through Memorial Drive and seeing all these Confederate statues. I was very impressed. So coming here in 2014, I wanted to see those statues again, and the Arthur Ashe statue. I said, boy, things have changed. And I really liked that. That was a special, that meant a lot to me to see that. Also, I'm really pleased that Katrina's now going to be in charge of the USTA because we really need to develop better grassroots programs, and I'm sure she's going to do that. Hopefully we can go back to our premier status. When I was playing, most of the best players were American, and now it's the top players are not American anymore, but that's okay. But we need to do something different now to get people going. But thank you very much. I thank you for the honor, and thank you, Betsy, and thank you for your tremendous hospitality.
The evening's next inductee, Bob Myers, is the only coach in NCAA Division II tennis history to win National Coach of the Year honors in both men's and women's tennis.
As the only coach in NCAA Division II to win Coach of the Year honors in both men's and women's tennis, Bob Myers made collegiate tennis history. Bob's first introduction to tennis was through his father, Mac, who was a tournament player in Middle Illinois. Young Bob chased balls and used his mother's racket to attempt to hit them back to his dad. But when Bob was only 6, his father passed away, and for many years, tennis was replaced by baseball, basketball, football, and swimming. During high school, Bob lettered in football, where he was team captain his junior and senior years, basketball, and ran track and field, where he was team captain his senior year and set school records in the high jump and the 440 relay. He enrolled in Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, where he helped transition a local social fraternity into the first national social fraternity on campus, Tau Kappa Epsilon, and served as its president during that period. His fraternity brothers convinced him to play tennis with them in intramural tournaments, and he fell in love with the sport as his father had done years earlier. Before long, Bob was winning local tournaments and becoming recognized as one of the better players in the St. Louis area. After completing his bachelor's and master's degrees in 1972, Bob was offered the jobs of instructor in the Health, Recreation, and Physical Education Department, as well as Assistant Athletic Director at SIUE, under Athletic Director Bob Gelker. Bob helped the coaches run their events, and in 1974, he became good friends with Kent DeMars, SIUE's first men's team tennis coach. This experience became the basis of Bob's good fortunes as a collegiate tennis coach as well as a teaching professional. In 1979, Bob was named head coach of SIUE's women's tennis team and led them to 4 consecutive NCAA team national championships in 1986, 87, 88, and 89. In 1985, Bob added the men's tennis team to his roster, and during his tenure, his players also won 3 singles national championships in 1984, 85, and 89. They also captured 2 doubles national championships in 1987 and 88, and 32 players were coached by Bob to NCAA All-American status. After being named Coach of the Year for NCAA Division II Women's Tennis in 1983 and Coach of the Year for NCAA Division II Men's Tennis in 1988, Bob resigned from SIUE in 1989 to pursue other. At Edwardsville Tennis Coaches Association Boys Assistant Coach of the Year. In his spare time, Bob enjoys playing guitar with the Robert Perry Band and traveling with his wife Mitch, son Zach, and daughter Abby.
Come on up, Bob.
It's kind of a little bit of my MO. Football players do what record. Great to see. Here. So I'm going to some of my best friends in the world or on the planet. My cousin Pat, her husband Tom. Probably some of the best work that my wife Mitch and I have done. My daughter Abby and my son Zach, who've done well in their lives, professionals. So along the way have really directed me in the right direction. You know, my dad passed away when I was 6 years old, and I can't go there very much because it still bugs me. My mother, excuse me, my mother had the challenge to keep me on. And in that movement of Title IX, I was involved in Title IX also during that period of time of going down to Carbondale, which is our sister school, and taking all the and fear. We're kind of fighting each other there between the man, my mentor in tennis. Can't say enough about this guy. Kent, my family can attest to. Again, back in the day, All-American. She had a lot of involved in the IT. Really, College of William & Mary, this is a phenomenal weekend for us. Appreciate it. The ITA and, Selection Committee, thank you very much for including me with all these great people. And I'm glad I'm in the club. Good night.
Our next inductee, Jeff Moore, led the University of Texas women's tennis program to 2 NCAA Division I team championships and 7 Final Four appearances.
As head coach for University of Texas Longhorns women's tennis for 23 years, Jeff Moore is one of only 4 active coaches in the entire country with over 500 wins. At the time of his retirement in 2005, Jeff was the second all-time winningest coach in Division I history. As a 3-sport athlete at Holland High School in Tulsa, Jeff played football, baseball, and basketball up until the summer before his senior year when he picked up a tennis racket. He then attended the University of Redlands in California to play tennis under legendary head coach Jim Verdee. After graduating from Redlands in 1974, Jeff was hired by his alma mater to be its first women's basketball coach, and in 1975 also became head coach of women's tennis. Under his direction, Colorado partners Vicki Painter and Susan Gilchrist. Texas also won the first of 2 NCAA titles in 1993. In 1994, Texas upset #1 ranked Georgia. In 1995, the belt to help
just for overwhelming.